Hey there, space explorers! Today we're diving into the fascinating world of statistics, but don't worry, we're keeping it cosmically clear. Imagine you're launching a research probe into the vast expanse of data. You need to make sure your probe is powerful enough to detect the signals you're looking for. That's where sample size, power, and detectable difference come in. Sample size is like the size of your probe's antenna. The larger it is, the more signals it can pick up. Power is like the probe's engine. The more powerful it is, the more likely it is to reach its destination and find significant results. And detectable difference? That's the minimum size of the signal you're looking for, the smallest asteroid your probe can detect. These three concepts are intricately linked, forming the very fabric of statistical analysis. Understanding their relationship is crucial for designing robust experiments and drawing meaningful conclusions from your data. So buckle up as we embark on this enlightening journey to unravel the secrets of sample size, power, and detectable difference. Let's bring these concepts down to earth with a simple example. Imagine we're studying the effects of a new drug on mice. We have two groups, one group receives the drug, and the other receives a placebo. Our goal is to see if the drug has a significant effect on their weight. Now, we can't test the drug on every single mouse on the planet, right? That's where sample size comes in. We need to select a representative sample of mice from the population. The larger our sample size, the more confident we can be that our results reflect the true effect of the drug. But sample size is only part of the equation. We also need to consider the power of our study. Power refers to the probability of finding a statistically significant result if there is a real effect. In other words, it's the likelihood that our probe will detect the asteroid. Finally, we need to determine the detectable difference, the minimum difference in weight between the two groups that we consider to be meaningful. This is like setting the sensitivity of our probe's sensors. Now let's get our hands dirty with some calculations. To determine the required sample size for our mice experiment, we need to consider the desired level of power, the significance level, alpha, and the expected effect size. The formula for calculating sample size is a bit complex, but trust me, it's not rocket science. We can use statistical software or online calculators to do the heavy lifting for us. For the sake of simplicity, let's assume we want a power of 80%, a significance level of 0.05, and an expected effect size of 0.5 standard deviations. Plugging these values into the formula, we find that we need a sample size of 32 mice in each group. This means we need a total of 64 mice for our experiment. Of course, the required sample size will vary depending on the specific parameters of our study. If we want higher power or a smaller detectable difference, we'll need a larger sample size. Section 4. The power of a study, unveiling the impact of sample size and effect size. Now that we understand how to calculate sample size, let's explore the relationship between sample size, power, and effect size. As we've seen, power is the probability of finding a statistically significant result. The power of a study is influenced by several factors, including sample size, effect size, and the significance level. Larger sample sizes and larger effect sizes lead to higher power. This is because larger samples provide more information, making it easier to detect even small differences. Similarly, larger effect sizes are easier to detect than smaller ones. Think of it this way, it's easier to spot a giant asteroid than a tiny meteoroid. The significance level, or alpha, also plays a role in power. A lower alpha level, for example, 0.01, requires stronger evidence to reject the null hypothesis, which reduces power. Section 5. Retrospective power calculation. Looking back at our experiment. Let's say we've completed our mice experiment, and we find that there's no significant difference in weight between the two groups. Does this mean the drug doesn't work? Not necessarily. It's possible that our study was underpowered, meaning we didn't have a large enough sample size to detect a real difference. This is where retrospective power calculation comes in. Retrospective power analysis involves calculating the power of our study after the data has been collected. It can help us determine if a non-significant result is due to a true lack of effect or simply a lack of power. In our mice experiment, if we perform a retrospective power analysis and find that the power was only 50%, it would suggest that our study was underpowered and we may have missed a real effect. Section 6. Conclusion: the interplay of sample size, power, and detectable difference. As we've seen, sample size, power, and detectable difference are interconnected concepts that are crucial for designing robust experiments and drawing meaningful conclusions from data. When planning a study, it's essential to carefully consider these factors to ensure that we have a sufficient sample size to detect a meaningful difference with adequate power. Remember, a well-designed study is like a powerful space probe. It allows us to explore the vast universe of data and uncover hidden truths. So, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those cosmic minds engaged. And don't forget to subscribe for more exciting adventures in the world of science and statistics.